welcome to the Red Half of Sheffield preview pod. I think they're all starting to run together now. We've compiled a bunch of fixtures together. I think it's match day 8 we're coming on. Our first midweek fixture of the season, and the opponent is Swansea City. And today, to preview that match, I am joined by Luke of the Swans Cast. Luke, how are you doing this early AM American time and early afternoon UK time?
Yeah, brilliant. So yeah, it's about half past lunchtime, if you like. So waiting for my dinner, which I can smell cooking. I can't wait to have that. We're having a roast Sunday lunch, which is obviously British tradition. But yeah, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Not bad, not bad. We might as well get into it. I will say this: we are previewing prior to Swansea v Bristol City, and so we have no result from yesterday to go over. But I will ask you this: how's Swansea's form? Sum up the beginning of the season for me.
Do you know? It's been okay. It's definitely better than last year. So that's all you can kind of ask for, I think, if you're looking to gradually improve. You know, we got a different manager to this time last year, so things didn't quite go to plan with the last one, last season, if you like. Tried to go a new direction, didn't quite work out. Had a mid-season change. So we've got the same guy in charge now, Luke Williams, who came in January. It's his first full season or first summer into a start of a season. And he's done okay. You know, we're sitting, I think we were 7th before this game week started. I think maybe 11th as of recording due to yesterday's results. But as you said, we haven't played our match yet. So sitting pretty, 10th it is, sitting pretty in the top half of the table. I would say, in regards to how we played, I've got two main concerns with our current play, which is chance creation and our general defending. We play a possession-based system, so we have a lot of the ball. And for me, I think we haven't so much conceded an awful lot of goals as a result, but I think we conceded an awful lot of chances and perhaps been let off with some lack of clinical finishing from other teams so far this season. When we've lost some of the games that we have lost, I think they've been like 1-goal defeats, which, you know, that's fine. And they were against Middlesbrough and West Brom. So, you know, teams that are doing quite well, especially West Brom, and you wouldn't argue with that result, especially away from home. We haven't lost at home yet, but it's the manner of the game. So we don't really look like we're in the game, and they probably should have scored more, which, okay, there's a platform to build on, but they're the two main concerns I have. So in terms of where we're sitting in the league table, I'm not 100% sure if that's where we are yet, or we're overachieving, or what. You know, at the end of the day, you take the results, you take the momentum that comes with it, and maybe those problems can fix themselves because we've got ourselves in a good position. That's what I'm hoping for anyway.
Yeah. You do bring up a point that I was going to bring up. In your opinion, are Swansea overachieving for this early in the season? Because all the talking hairdos and talking heads that quote unquote know the championship, they had Swansea down near mid-table or the bottom. Yeah. So to see them, as you mentioned, sitting 10th, this obviously makes you feel good, but do you think they're overachieving a bit right
now? Potentially. I look at our results and how we played, and when you look at where we were in the league table, as I said, 7th before this game week started, I wouldn't have put them hand in hand. But then at the same time, you know, we arguably should have beaten Cardiff at home. We kind of threw that away in the second half. And if we had managed to kind of get the result we should have got based on the control of the game we had in the first half, we would have had another 2 points and been looking even more pretty if we win today. You know, if we get a win against Bristol City today, then we're only 3 points off top. And that's crazy. That's crazy to me to say that's the position we could potentially be in a couple of hours based on how we've been playing. But then I guess, so yeah, overachieving, definitely, to answer your question. I would have had us mid-table, probably a little bit. I think we finished 12th, somewhere around there last season, or maybe 14th. I can't quite remember. For me, that's the minimum where we should be this season. To match last season, because we got a new manager in. He's going to have a full season doing his style of play. I think I put us like 2 positions ahead of where we finished last season in my prediction, and that's about mid-table, smack bang in the middle. You know, like that's where I think we should be. So it's not, you know, that much ahead. If we do finish 7th to 10th, it's not that much ahead. It probably is only 2 or 3 wins more over the course of a season to get those extra positions. But I wasn't really expecting to be there, especially at this stage of the season, and especially from what I've seen in terms of the things I've already described with the chance create. That's the main one, because we haven't been creating an abundance of chances. It's got a little bit better in the last game or two, the 2 wins we've had against Norwich and Coventry, but it's definitely not for 90 minutes. And the way that we are playing, we're struggling to get a striker in the game. So then we're struggling to score goals or even like register shots on target and stuff like that. So sometimes it's a case of watching something a bit frustrating because they're getting all the ball again into these areas, but nothing's coming as a result of it. And that's just consistent. And maybe if we could fix that problem, this position that we find ourselves in now can become more of a reality for the longer term. But, at the end of the day, you've got to play what's in front of you. And if the season is going in this direction, maybe, some of the teams that we wouldn't have expected to struggle are going to continue to struggle. Luton, I think, being the big one, Coventry as well. And you've got to just kind of reap the rewards of that, haven't you? You can only you get the momentum in the championship, and sometimes it just doesn't matter. You can just go and run away with it.
That's very true. Okay, I think this is dumbass question. Is Swansea's goal now? Do you feel like Swansea are building towards an inevitable push to get back into the Premier League? Or, in my opinion, from a Sheffield United standpoint, I'd never want to be in that godforsaken league again. I want to stay in this division. You as a supporter, do you want to get back to the top flight, or are you okay finishing mid-table, 10th, 12th, 8th, maybe making the playoffs in a couple of years? I guess it's a 2-part question.
Yeah.
Are they building to get back to the Premier League? And you as a fan, are you okay with being in the Championship, or do you want to be back in the top flight?
There's a couple of answers to this question, I think. If you look from the club perspective, they want to get back to the Premier League 100%. So we had an ownership change towards the later period we spent in the Premier League last time. So maybe I understand where you're coming from in terms of your view on being in the Premier League. But as a club, Swansea, when we were there for 7 years straight. And we haven't done any of that like up and down stuff. So we had one stint. We were there for a little bit of time. And when we got relegated, We never got back in after that, Maybe we should have. We had a couple of playoff chances, but we didn't quite get over the line. So we haven't necessarily been burnt out by... I've seen a lot of clubs this has happened to, and I understand where you're coming from, where you go up, lose every week, and come back down and do that a couple of times. And I understand then why that's like, what's the point? I'd rather be in a league where we could be semi-competitive and just miss out, but it's a more enjoyable season. So I understand that. From the club's perspective, obviously they bought the club. I think they got relegated 2 or 3 years after they bought the club, and everything kind of went downhill after the purchase. So whatever they paid for the club, I believe around the 100 million mark, the club's nowhere near worth that now in the Championship, especially selling all the talent that over the years they have had to do. So for them to ever have a chance of probably recouping that money, they have to get back up to the Premier League. So I don't know what the goal is. They're not transparent enough to say, look, we want to get up and sell. Don't know if that's the plan. Got a feeling it might be. Because I don't think it kind of went... The dream they were sold maybe hasn't been correct, in terms of what they've actually got. They're American owners. I don't know if they actually saw relegation being as big of a concern as probably should have been. So when that happened, I think maybe they were caught out a little bit. But, they've done a lot of wrong and they get a lot of stick from the fans. But one thing they have done is stabilize the club financially. So if they do get into the position where they go back up, we're several years on after we got relegated, and the money, I think, is even more bigger than it was when we came down. So I'd imagine just going up, they'd probably be able to get their money back. So that's definitely the goal from the club perspective. Myself, I wouldn't mind going back up because we have, like I said, only had that one stint. When we did it the last time, we managed to hold our own ground and stay there for a long time, and we actually had a few good years because of the way we play. So maybe nostalgia and, blinkered vision of being a bit biased, I probably would like to think we could try and do that again. If I'm being realistic, I know we probably won't, and I'm not sure that model is going to work exactly the same way as it worked before. and we probably would have a tough time and come straight back down, and then maybe the reality sets in after that one season of not enjoying it so much. Then maybe you do think the same way. But then what's the answer, isn't it? Like, do you accept just missing out every year and accept that's like the best solution? Because
I'm totally
ultimately,
okay with that.
yeah, success in the championship ends up in promotion, doesn't it? So like
It's
it's
true.
hard to nail the we'll get to the playoffs, but we'll just get to the final and not go up. I don't know. It's a hard one. They need to bridge the gap. That's what they need ultimately, isn't it? To make it so that teams going up can actually have a chance of being successful.
Exactly. So back to this one, midweek, under the lights. How do you see it playing out?
Well, my answer might change depending on what happens in about an hour or so. But it's a tough game, innit? Obviously, going away to Sheffield. I'm not sure we've done very well in the recent games when we've gone up to Sheffield. So we could be potentially, if we touch wood, if today goes well, we could be on a 3-match decent streak, either 3-match wins or not lost in 3. That's the hope, isn't it? We're home today, so we haven't lost a home game all season. So I'm hoping for the best there. I think we've got to back ourselves, really. We've got to. I think for us, like, we're in this position that we perhaps weren't expecting. The manager's even come out and spoken and said things like, I'm not quite sure if it's a case of we are really good or whether the teams aren't playing the best around us, and we're ended up in this position. He said he doesn't quite know where we are, because obviously I guess it's ahead of schedule, because we had quite a few new players come in, and fitting into the new systems probably part of the reason why our attack is not where it should be at the moment. But ultimately, if we keep getting the results, all that does is help confidence. And then at what point do you start going to places like Sheffield and think, right, let's aim to not lose the game? Probably is the first place to start. I think I wouldn't be ambitious enough to say I think we'll go there and win, but give a good account of ourselves and either try and steal a point or, keep a competitive game where maybe a narrow loss is kind of where it's gone for us away from home, other than the Coventry game. So yeah, I think it'd be a competitive game. I don't see us getting smashed at the moment. No. There is definitely one of them in there because our defending can be a bit suspect. But at the moment, we're getting away with it. We have a really good scattered defence. It's just when that gets a little bit worked out, probably going to have a drub-in. But form's with us, momentum's with us. So I think we'll give a good account for ourselves. Not sure I'll predict a win, but I'm going to maybe say we'll go a good chance for a draw.
Yeah, I'm in 100% agreement. There ain't no way Sheffield United's winning this thing. I just think we're the sheen to our season starting to wear off, and everybody is coming back to where I've been on the ground the whole time, saying if we don't get a goal in the first hour of the game, then it's going to end in a draw. Because honestly, our back line is good enough for this level that we won't concede too many. I mean, just look at yesterday. It was a 0-0 draw. I mean, so we've only conceded 3 goals all season. So the back line is going to be tough to break down. I just don't think we have anything attacking going forward. So I could legitimately see this being another 0-0 draw. I'll go 1 apiece because we're due to give up a goal. I sound like a hypocrite. And then some way we find one. But if it's not before the 60th minute, Swansea might come away with all 3 points, because it's just when we start to make subs, we have zero depth. We have the kids on the bench. So, you would think coming up against Sheffield United, their team's going to be deep. No, you have 11 players, then you have the kids. If the first 11 don't score a goal, you're not getting a goal. So it should be interesting to see how this game pans out. Excuse me. Before we get out of here, I ask every opponent view that comes on your go-to match day beverage on match day. So about an hour and a half from now, what are you going to have from now? In an hour and a half from now, what are you going to drink? That's a tradition.
My preference for any drink really is to get a cider. So if I was going to the game, they usually have like berries, a I can't remember what brand it's called now, but they've got like a berry cider, like a red berry cider. So that's what I would usually choose because I'm more of a cider drinker than a beer person. But a lot of grounds in the UK don't always offer cider. So yeah, it would just be a beer then. If I was at home and I had the luxury of choosing anything, I do like a brand of cider called Thatcher's. They do quite a few flavors. I like lemon one. They got an orange one that's quite good. Oh, the classic apple as well is probably my favorite apple cider. So Thatcher's is a brand. I'm sure anyone local probably know it. Not sure how much cider is exported over your way, maybe, but maybe you can inform me. Is this something you've ever drunk before?
I don't think I think I had it when I was over in the UK. Not this last time, but my very first time I had it. But over here, they just basically have Magners.
Yeah.
Is the giant?
That's the one that's the one that gets shipped out everywhere.
Yeah.
Not one of my. I don't mind it. It's not one of my favorites though.
And there's a lot of local brews that are starting to dabble into the cider side of things. So it is the growing side of that business, but it's definitely an acquired taste. I will have one. I will have a Magners on ice. I'm not gonna lie, that's the only way I could drink it is on ice for some reason. But yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong with a cider, in my opinion. So,
No, but definitely if you come back to the UK, try a Thatcher's or try a couple of the other ones. Is definitely better than Magners out there. But on ice is good because the idea is if it's a hot day, it's a fruity, refreshing drink, and it really ultimately cider. So that's why. And if you get some of the flavored ones, that's my preference. I got a bit of a sweet tooth basically, so I enjoy that.
Yeah, for sure. All right, before we get out of here, Luke, drop where the people can find the Swans Cast on social media.
Yeah, if you just type in Swans Cast, Twitter or X is our most active platform. If you want to look at our actual content in YouTube or any podcasting platform, just type in Swans Cast again and we should come up. We usually do podcasts and match previews. So yeah, you can check that out if you fancy.
Will do. If you guys haven't done so, Red Half of Sheffield, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff. If you want to follow me, cjarvis_13 on Twitter, X. And until the next match preview against Luton, I will leave you with Up the Blade.